All right, long time no see. Um, like I said in one of the videos, YouTube is definitely not my goal. I just wanted to kind of do a quick Dutch series, get to a competition, and I think I achieved that. I'm not so into just doing YouTube, but I do want to update you guys. So if you remember, we were fighting the algae problem like crazy. It was just a total nightmare. And I'm going to go ahead and let everyone know it's all gone. We solved the problem. I'll go into detail how we solved that literally almost completely overnight. If there's still one little problem we're having, and it's going to be this tank. Basically, what happens as I move plants in and out, they go to different tanks. And you know what they say, every tank is different, and that is true. So they'll adapt to that one specific tank, and then I'll take them out and move them into here, and they've got to readapt. And they'll have a little bit of a problem. And after they kind of grow and I reset them, basically I'll pull them up, cut off the lower section, that's the older growth or the newest to the tank that has the problem, and reset. Everything that grows out new is 100% fixed. And in this tank, most of these plants have been in here for a minute, but this is the newest one. This is a limno, I forget which one, a Bartiri. I'm not sure exactly which one this is. And you can kind of see these little dark areas. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but that's that older growth, and it does have a little bit of a problem. But last week we did trim real hard, and you can see the new growth is perfect. So that's really it for this tank. So problem solved. It's just a moving kind of stress or whatever. You go through it for a couple weeks and it's fixed. All right, so I am preparing for the 2026 Dutch competition. I'm going to do it early. I'm tired of getting pressed up against the deadline wall and trying to rush, and it's never like fully there. So this year we're going to do it early, and we are working on the tank right now. Unfortunately, last week we kind of ran late, and I wasn't quite paying attention, and I accidentally stuck in 13 plants in here. Again, this tank is a 12 plant Dutch Scape. So we will remove the Bacopa caroliana here. Obviously it wouldn't work, right? Like, you can't even really see it because the color is so similar. But anyways, that's going to all come out, and we're going to fill in with all of this lily. So here we are. So this really isn't going to go into the competition, because, you know, following that rule where, you know, I'm friend with one of the judges. He looks at my content from time to time. He can't see the tank or I get disqualified. So this will probably be the only video of this tank as we get closer to what we're doing. Right now, we're just kind of lining up ideas, moving plants in and out like I've always done, just to kind of get a look at everything, and then make the final transition to the final shot. So this is literally water change day. We did it last Tuesday. Glass is completely clear. It's perfect. The only algae I see on the glass is probably where we missed, just scraping it off. I do have some algae up on my pipes up here. No big deal. That's kind of just, looks like I got some moss over there too. That just kind of happens. High flow areas will get algae for whatever reason. I know that's a thing. I haven't solved it. I don't think it's any type of issue. It's just one of those things. So yeah, we just need to hydrogen peroxide it, and it'll be solved for months and months. We just literally have not cleaned those in months and months and months. So yeah, let's just go through a plant list so you can see what we're kind of trying to do. What is this? I think we tried this in the last video series. It's hydrocodal. What is it? Pennywort, I think is the generic name, but this is a variegated type of it. Before we go into that, how did we solve it? So in 2023, when I was doing the larger 120, and we had Weak Aqua Pandora series lights on it, and I was able to crank the lights to no end. The tank was flawless. There was nothing I could do to it that would cause any problem at all. And I just kept cranking the lights up, cranking the lights up. So in my head, light being the issue never entered as a possible cause or the problem. And guess what? All we did is we lowered lights. That's it. We just dropped the light. This is maybe pushing 45 par at the substrate right now in this tank. Sorry, my cat's freaking out. That's what you're hearing. We got 2 new kittens, and they're starting to grow up, and they are rambunctious. But anyways, yeah, we just lowered light, and it literally fixed both tanks instantly. We just kept up that hardcore maintenance, and then we lowered light, and all of a sudden, that maintenance got easier and easier and easier. And it's fixed. Who would have thought? I always have my brain, it's somewhere else. But, yep, it was just light. All right, so getting back to the plants. We got some Pennywort here, variegated version. We're going to be using this as the curtain. I will be letting it grow up and curtain over. We do have some True Stricta back here, and it's doing well. If you remember in the competition, it was kind of over in here, and we kept it smaller. This time we're going to use it as a background. This Bacopa will come out, and we're going to fill in all with lily. Now with this, I know it doesn't look quite the same as in a person with this camera, but I am going to try and cheat the spot of interest in the rule of thirds, where my street is disappearing into the rule of third, and that is going to be the major interest on that part. Now, I don't know how it's going to work out. If the disappearing street is this back focal point, is in this rule of third, is this red going to be appropriate? I don't know. Well, I'll just have to keep eyeballing it, taking photos and analyzing and find out. So maybe I'll take, this is a, what is that? It's a Cryptocorean red tiger, Spiralis red tiger. So maybe I'll have to pull it forward some, or maybe we'll have to abandon, the disappearing street as that focal point and put in something over there that's interesting to look at. I just don't know. So yeah, we'll figure that out as we move things in and out. Of course, this is new. We've had it before, but I rebought it. This is that hydrocodal Japan or Japanica. I think it's Japanica, or no, I think it's Japan. Yeah, it's kind of a weed, but it really makes great streets. So that's going to be our street this year. I'm going to really focus on the mid-ground and having the mid-ground just look. So I'm going to try to have backgrounds just to 3 plants. And to do that, I think, regardless, this is going to have to be moved forward, this Cryptocorean. And we'll just kind of push this a little more forward. But, got these over here in the way. So we'll figure all that out. Again, this year I am demanding that I do a Cryptocorean, and now we have 2. So I think this is Sindor, and of course the Spiralis red tiger. And this year also I demanded that we always start with it, but we abandon it as we start getting closer to the competition, is Hygrophila difformis, and I had to reorder it, and it is over here currently converting. Yeah, it's staying in the tank. I don't care if we have to tie strings to the freaking ceiling. It's going to stay into the tank along with the 2 Cryptocoreans. Again, we got Velho in here. It has never looked better in my tanks than I see it right now. It's literally gorgeous, so we're going to be doing that as a type of carpet, but of course we're going to be following the Dutch guidelines for that. We have started the moss walls. This tank will have a full moss wall this year. Hopefully that's going to get us to first place. I think that's been just kind of holding us back. So over here we just have Christmas moss. And I've got this long sheet here, and I have a shorter sheet on this side, and we're going to do shorter sheets just across the back, and then we'll have 1 sheet on the left, and then 1 long sheet right up against the hydrocodal. All right, so that's where we are at on this tank. You can see a lot of using the same plants as we used last time. I did order Limno if that's what if I say correctly. But it kind of got unruly, so I did go ahead and swap back to the Limno Aromatic Mini, because again, I do want to focus on that mid ground, and it's a better mid ground. All right, cool. So we're going to move over to the 120. And you can remember the disaster that was. This tank is in the flawless position. We can do no wrong. All right, so let me go ahead and show you that. Okay, so here is the 120, and I do have the sliding door open on the right side for the cats today, so it may look a little weird color-wise over here. And we did farm this last week Tuesday, and we farmed it hard. And in fact, we made $250 off of this tank alone last Tuesday. Now, we do sell wholesale to our local fish store, so we sell pots anywhere from $3.50, and depending on rarity, how hard it is to grow, how long it takes, that price can go up. But anywhere from $3.50 to $4.50 is kind of the common area, and we'll go up $5, $6, or even $7. This just depends on the type of plant. But this tank is now pretty much flawless. Now, the only issue I'm having with this is, and you can actually see it right here, you might be able to. This is purple kabamba, and man, the stems want to break. And usually that's an indicator of low PO4, but the PO4 is definitely not low in this tank, so I don't quite know what that is. Also, our Balexias have kind of stopped growing roots, and I asked around about that. And sometimes when you're moving around too much, they'll tend to do that. So we're just leaving them where they are. But it's interesting that some of these are green, and then look at that one little spot right here, super red. And usually that's kind of like when you're limiting nutrients or something, or the light's bright, but we have really cranked down the lights in here. That's how we solved the problem. Now, looking at this sword, I do see some green spot, kind of another indicator of low PO4. I will test again, but I tested last week, and that's just not the case. So yeah, that's the only interesting thing that I've noticed about this tank. It's only on certain plants, but this tank is literally popping off. $250 last week, and I know next week it's probably going to be about another $200 if we don't farm it this coming Tuesday and go 3 weeks. I know for sure it's going to be $250. All right, so this is this tank doing really well, and unfortunately, the defect on this tank is getting worse and worse, and this tank is going to be removed, sold for extremely cheap. I'm going to sell all the pumps and everything with it just to kind of get it out of here, and we're going to buy something more suited for farming, and we're going to put it in a different room, so it'll be just the 100 in this room. I'm going to go ahead and show you the 75. I did some changes on that, did some upgrades, and it's looking fantastic. So we'll move over there too. Okay, so here's the 75, and you can see up here, we did add a actual production U-gang reactor. Unfortunately, we didn't want to put it on the floor because we just didn't quite have enough tubing to make that happen. So we did put it on top of the tank like the previous one. And with it being so close to the light and clear, of course, it got massive amount of algae. And I think that light being so close right here, it gave me green water. So I am running my UV sterilizer, and that has fixed the problem. And my wife has wrapped the tube into some black plastic. Or actually it's like oil catch for your car, like oil mat, and just wrap that around there, and that should solve it going forward. You can see this tank is actually just exploding. Again, this is not for display, this is for farming purposes only, and I use this for the retirement tank. These blue neon rainbows are approaching 8 years old, and actually they're starting to fall off now. And this is just any fish that's real old, we retire them to this tank and just try to make sure they're well fed and happy until the time comes for them to move on. But then we do farm this tank out really hard, and in fact last week it was about this tall, and this week is completely exploded. This plant is the Limno Hyperoides, absolutely freaking gorgeous. It is a bit temperamental, but it really likes this tank because we moved it out of the 100 into here, and it's literally just exploded. Yeah, not too much to say about this. We did buy a new filter. We're not running two filters on this anymore. We went ahead and bought a FX4, and it's my first fluval filter. I tell you what, I had to crank the flow down. It's a lot for a 75. So far, so good. I really like it. The flow is perfect. I'm not too excited about the proprietary connections and all their like ribbed hosing and stuff. But whatever, we bought the correct connections for the U-gang reactor. It all connects. We bought some other tubing that fits it. And that's just how we have it. This plant up here, not an aquarium plant. This is actually some Thai basil that we grow every year in the garden, but it's still kind of cold here. And we just temporarily put it here to help it get going. So yeah, it's just, this tank is just literally flawless. I won't show you the 40 because Tessie, my wife, is literally chopping it down to be farmed as we speak. So there's really nothing to look at there. Getting back to the question of YouTube, I don't know. Do I continue it? I really don't have any more ideas because I know there's tons of other YouTubers who cover all those basics, what they do and all that. And I just don't know what content I can bring except, how I move plants in and out, evaluate, reevaluate, and then get the final scape. And, with Dutch aquascapes, kind of dying out. I mean, how interesting is that to most people? It's just not. So I don't know if I'll continue. I did just really want to make this video to show you guys that the problem has been solved. Everything's going well here. We're making a lot of money off the tanks right now. Fish are breeding. In the 100, we have 4 more of the albino Cory sterbies. And in here, we have gold lasers breeding like crazy. Corridors, gold laser corridors breeding like crazy. The only problem that we really have in this tank is this particular algae. You can see some puffballs of it. We actually pulled these sheets out that handles the, what is that, Hygrophila pennitifida, and we must have missed a spot, and it's not kind of reformed. Of course, on the black things. What is it with black in the tank and algae? I don't know. Maybe it's the petroleum leaking and it likes it or something. Who knows? But anyways, yeah, so that's kind of the only thing, and we just haven't hydrogen peroxide or manually removed. And we need to do that literally today, or we'll start to take over again. But that's it. Yeah, look at the Juncus repens taken off. Yeah, everything's going really well in this house, tank-wise. And I'll just have to evaluate if I continue any more videos. If you guys have suggestions on things you want to know about my process or how I do things, how I mix my nutrients, where do I buy my nutrients, let me know. Give me some ideas. If you guys can do that, maybe that'll keep me, in the business of YouTube. All right. Yeah. So maybe there's a next time. And if there is, I'll see you then. If not, thanks for tuning in for that nightmare that we did solve. I thought that was super cool to have to go through, just, where most people give up, and you just got to stick with it. And sometimes the answer is the simplest one that you just refuse to believe. And I think that's many of the cases in problems that arise in fish tanks. It can't be this, it can't be that, it has to be this. We kind of nutrient tunnel vision. It has to be the nutrients, and it never was, because the nutrients haven't changed. They're the same as almost day one. I know I altered them a couple times, but it just never solved the problem. And boom, it was a light, because in my head I convinced myself it couldn't be the light, and it was. All right, so maybe next time, and maybe not next time, but yeah, have a great day, and thanks for watching. Again, leave comments. If you really want to know something about my process, let me know, and I'll shoot a video on it. All right, take care, all.